In the future, there will be a vibrant, self-sustaining human civilization on Mars. The high road to Mars is one built on a foundation of gracious professionalism, the bedrock ethos of the first robotics competition. The earthbound dreamers of today, who are working to open the high road to a future Martian civilization, are the ancestors of tomorrow's Martians. I'm Phil Turek, one such ancestral Martian. Look at what I'm trying to do by creating simulated Martian cultural ambassadors to act as positive social influencers to somewhat depolarize society here in the United States. Imagine how much even better it would be if the United States were to bring real Martian ambassadors here. Hello, everyone. Phil Turek here. We're in the holiday season here in the United States. Hanukkah and Christmas, New Year's all coming along. I wanted to just share with you my own thoughts and aspirations for what a Martian civilization would be like. And so the title of this particular chat is Positive versus Negative, talking about people, though. So, and this is my own labeling for people. So they're positive individuals. And these are people who are builders, I would call them. They appreciate, encourage excellence in fields beyond just what their own are. And you might recognize that some of these statutes here are Mozart, for example. Einstein is pretty recognizable. This next fellow, who do you suppose that might be? Why, that's Leonardo da Vinci. And this last one, you probably wouldn't be able to make out, but that's a statute to Charles Lindbergh, an aviator who in the 1920s became the first person to fly nonstop across the Atlantic Ocean. Positive individuals look at these people as positive role models, and they put them on pedestals, and they try to improve their own lives to become more like their role models. Okay, so if I had to summarize it, I would say a positive individual views other people with love. All right, well, now for the dark side, there are negative individuals. And these are people who I just label as being destroyers. And they view others with fear instead of with love. And what else can I say? Instead of trying to pull themselves up to be like positive role models, they prefer to tear others down to be below themselves, right? So it tries to have the same effect of them being on top, but it's just a totally opposite way of going about it. So I read an article recently about totalitarian governments and how dictators and autocrats behave. And so here's a few lines from it. And I feel they pretty correctly describe my perception of what a negative individual is like in terms of how they behave, right? So maybe they have a reading disability, I should say, or a challenge, or there's other reasons why they're not able to just learn the way the rest of us are able to read something or watch something and understand what's going on. They have more of a challenge. And so there's a lot they can't understand. And instead of making the effort to learn, they find it's simpler to just protest and throw a temper tantrum and, against anything they don't understand. As far as what happens in a dictatorship when someone like that gets control of the reins of power, well, okay, nothing that's not entirely predictable is to be stamped out. And so that's a big implication for trying to establish a civilization on Mars. If the United States ends up becoming a dictatorship, there won't be any effort to try to settle a new civilization on Mars, because that would not be entirely predictable. And it's to no advantage to the dictator in charge to have people excelling in any field, right? It would be something that they can't understand, and therefore it's bad. So, yikes. Uh, and basically, dictators don't really want people who are super competent once they get into power, right? So they might want people who are really good helping them get into power. But once they're in power, they would really like to just have people who are loyal no matter what. So they don't want people who think for themselves and get the idea, I could replace him. Uh, that is what I would have to say for that. And then what do I want for a Martian civilization? Basically, I like this quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., where I just embellished a little bit and said, not only by the color of their skin, people should not be judged by their religion, by their political views, but by the content of their character. From a different article I read, it was actually written by a Jewish journalist who 80 years ago, while he was a child in Iraq, there was a persecution going on of Jews back then. And, they were a small minority group of Jews surrounded by lots of Muslims and Arabs. And what happened was the Muslim neighbors came to protect and defend his family because they knew his family. And afterwards, when this journalist was a little boy, he asked his dad, so, why is it that there was this discrepancy between what they're doing as a group and what our immediate neighbors did? And the dad's reply was, son, you must judge people by their individual actions, not as a group. And I sincerely hope that that becomes the dominant cultural trait for a Martian civilization. That is my message for this week. For other stuff, I'm not really doing things. I see I once again forgot to actually share the references. So let me display the references one more time. There they are. If you want to actually look up the articles that I was referring to, there they are. Okay. So holiday season, I don't think I'm going to be transmitting anything until the new year, but I'm not sure about that. I've been trying to do this once a week on a Monday. We'll see how it goes. If I don't do anything till the new year, well, happy holidays. For me, it'd be Merry Christmas to all of you, and Happy New Year if I don't communicate before then. All right.